When we think about technology, we often assume it's neutral, just a tool we use to make life easier or more efficient. But what if technology is not neutral at all? What if every design decision reflects cultural assumptions about intelligence, productivity, autonomy, and even human worth? In this presentation, I will argue that technological systems do more than serve us. They embed values and actively shape what counts as human in a rapidly emerging post-human world. A post-human world does not mean human extinction, but a condition in which technology is so deeply integrated into our lives that it reshapes identity, agency, and what it means to be human. Scholars examine this shift through four areas: technological integration, digital existence, ethical and philosophical changes, and environmental impact. Rapid advances in AI, biotechnology, robotics, and automation are accelerating this transformation. We no longer simply use tools. We live within systems that shapes how we think and interact. In this presentation, I will focus on ethical and philosophical shifts, specifically how technological design embeds cultural values and shape what counts as human. Technology is often described as neutral, as if it's simply a tool that humans control. However, this assumption is misleading. Technological systems are designed by people who carry cultural assumptions about the intelligence, efficiency, productivity, and even morality. Cheryl Wind captures this powerfully when she writes, "Design choices are the real-world equivalent of what science fiction community calls world building." In other words, when engineers and corporations design technologies, they're not just building tools, they are constructing worlds. Wind also reminds us that science fiction is a mode of critical reflection on the social implications of technological change. This is important because it shows that technology has always been tied to a deeper question about identity and power. Science fiction helps us to see that design decisions are never neutral. They reflect values and shape human possibilities. Because technological systems increasingly mediate daily life, this topic is extremely important nowadays. Artificial intelligence either supports or replaces human decision making. Automation organizes workplaces, and algorithms filter the information we see. This is made clear by an AI ethics study that claims that technologies themselves represent values. This implies that presumptions regarding justice, intellect, autonomy, and value are ingrained in every algorithm, user interface, and automated system. Technology is actively influencing social norms and expectation if it is a representation of values. They have an impact on which human traits are idealized and which behaviors are rewarded, frequently placing an emphasis on production, efficiency, and optimization. The crucial question in a post-human world is whether we are creating technology to benefit humanity or if we're quietly reshaping humanity to accommodate technological frameworks. Research shows that technological systems reshape identity and social values in multiple ways. First, Cheryl Wind explains the transhumanist idea, which once belonged to speculative fiction, are now treated as achievable goals. She writes, transhumanism emphasizes its feasibility and eschews its science fiction roots. What was once imaginative speculation has become normalized scientific ambition, changing the expectations about what human bodies and minds should become. Second, the AI ethics study argues that ethical questions should be addressed throughout the development cycle in order to accentuate their impact on design decisions. This highlights that definitions of fairness, autonomy, and intelligence must influence technology from the beginning. Ethics are not decorative, they must actively shape development. If ethical reflections is absent on, systems might prioritize efficiency or profit over dignity and inclusivity. Third, the digital transhumanism framework emphasizes that it is necessary to determine in advance what anthropological and sociological models underlie each of the proposals of digital technologies. Every technological system carries an implicit model of the human being, whether as a rational calculator, data producer, consumer, or optimized worker. These models influence how society understands capability, value, and identity. Together, these sources demonstrate that technological design does not merely change society, it reshapes how we conceptualize humanity itself. The ethical implications of this shift are significant. If technologies embed values, then biased or narrowed assumption can become structurally embedded into social systems. The AI ethics study clearly states technologies themselves represent values, which means inequality or exclusion can be coded directly into infrastructure. The Digital Humanism article warns that not everything technically possible is ethically desirable or morally good. This challenges the belief that innovation automatically equals progress. Just because human enhancement, automation, or data extraction is possible does not mean it aligns with dignity or justice. Furthermore, the article stresses the importance of ensuring that technology is at the service of human beings and not the other way around. This raises fundamental philosophical questions of the post-human condition. Are we guiding technology according to human values, or are we adapting ourselves to fit technological logic? These ethical questions force us to reconsider autonomy, responsibility, and what kind of humanity we wish to preserve or transform. Looking forward, the post-human future is not predetermined. It's shaped by design decisions made today. One possible solution is adopting human-centered design frameworks that prioritize autonomy, inclusivity, and dignity. Another is integrating ethical reflection at the earliest stages of development rather than treating ethics as a secondary judgment. Interdisciplinary collaboration between engineers, philosophers, sociologists, and policymakers can also help reveal the hidden anthropological assumption embedded in technological systems. Personally, I believe the most important step is awareness. If we critically examine the models of humanity encoded in our technology, we can consciously shape a future that expands human possibility rather than reduces it to efficiency metrics. The post-human world will not eliminate humanity, but it will redefine it. The key question is whether we participate actively in the redefinition. In conclusion, we're moving towards a post-human world, not because humans are disappearing, but because technological systems are redefining the boundaries of what counts as human. We've seen that design choices function as world building, that technologies embodies values, and that every system contains an implicit model of humanity. Ethical reflection is therefore not optional. Is essential. If we fail to question the values embedded in our technologies, we risk accepting narrow definitions of intelligence, worth, and identity. I would like to leave you with two questions. The first one, if technologies already represent values, whose values are shaping the future human? And are we truly enhancing humanity, or are we standardizing it according to algorithmic logic? For this presentation, I drew on Cheryl Wynn's science fiction, which provides the theoretical frame study connecting design and work building. I also used the AI ethic and value-sensitive design study by Christina Chochanchig, which demonstrate that technology embody values and require ethical interaction from the beginning of development. Finally, I incorporated the Digital Humanism Framework article by Cristina Diaz de la Cruz, which emphasizes examining the anthropological models underlying digital systems. Together, these sources allowed me to connect literary theory, applied research, and ethical philosophy to argue that technological design choices actively shape what counts as human in a post-human world. Thank you for your attention.